Hello, lovely people. Welcome. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Amber Gonzalez, and we have a dream to buy a home. We have a dream to own a home in California, preferably Oakland, California. And so I want to welcome you to today's vlog titled California Dreaming, where California takes your dream and it crushes it and it murders it. You guys, I do love California. I do. But right now, I just have something against it. But that's okay because this too shall pass. So last we left off, we were headed back to California, leaving South Dakota. And as far as we knew, we had a job to look forward to and an apartment to look forward to. So we get back to California. I'm going to fast forward through some things just for the sake of time. But at this point, we are now living with some friends. And while we're waiting, we can't move into our apartment until August 12th. It is towards the end of July, so we still have a long while to wait. So while we're staying with some friends, one morning, our background check for the apartment cleared. Our application, I should say, it cleared. And the lady calls me and says, hey, with your permission, I'm going to go ahead and withdraw the money for the deposit for the apartment. We're like, go ahead, do it. Well, that very next morning, my husband calls me from work. And all I hear is, I didn't get the job. Hello? Are you there? The service was so bad. He couldn't hear me. I couldn't hear him. That's all I got. Was I didn't get the job. So I'm freaking out. Like, what happened? What in the world could possibly happen? So I called the lady right away. And I was like, please tell me you didn't withdraw that money. She was like, I'm sorry, but I did. Is everything okay? And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. We're just working some things out on the other end. Because I'm thinking, we're going to hold on to the apartment because surely this is a mistake. Surely there is absolutely no way that he didn't really not get the job. So I have to wait all day until my husband can call me again. I'm freaking out, pacing. My mind is going crazy. Like, what in the world could possibly stop him from getting this job? This has never happened in all his years. Never. So he calls me. And I finally get to a spot where there's service. And he tells me that they told him, sorry, Mr. Gonzalez, but we can't hire you because your background didn't clear. We can't hire you because your background came up as a sex offender. What? 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 Like, no freaking way. This is absurd. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. A sex offender? This is what came up? Of all the jobs that my husband has applied for, never has this ever happened. He even had a government job. If that background check clears in a government job, why wouldn't it clear here? In Pierre, South Dakota. Makes no sense. I told my husband, I said, this is ridiculous. I said, somebody's not doing their job. Somebody entered in social security numbers wrong or something. I said, you need to fight this. And so I told him, I said, your job is on the line. Your future is on the line. Your reputation is on the line. You need to fight this. So he was calling the lady over and over, but they had basically just brushed him off and was like, sorry, we already turned it over to a third party. It's out of our hands. There's nothing we can do. And even after that, my husband tried to keep calling her because he didn't want to let this go. And they were not responding to him. They were not getting back to him until he sent a respectful but very firm text speaking their language. And then they quickly responded to his text and was like, oh, so sorry, Mr. Gonzalez. And yeah, because he was speaking words that were setting off alarms on them. I think and believe that what they were hoping is that we would just walk away, that we would just let it go, that the problem would just go away. Well, we weren't going to just let it go. And so finally, we started to get the ball rolling on clearing his name. But it's not an overnight process. This stuff takes time. So in the midst of all of this, he's like, I can't wait. I don't know how long this is going to take, and I can't wait. So he's like, I'm going to have to find another job now. So he called one of the guys that he had an interview with. And now this guy was actually the man he really, really was hoping that he could work for. But the reason he didn't take that job was because there were some things that this job just could not offer that the other job was offering. But he called him, and his boss was just super excited. He's like, oh my gosh, this is the best news I've heard all day. Yes, the job is yours, definitely. So we're like, okay, good. We have a job. Now here we are, back to square zero, trying to find a place to live. I already explained to you in the last video how difficult it is to find a place to live. I mean, it's like candy around here. So every day we're doing our research, looking online for places to live. One morning, my husband was up super early, just on the phone, scrolling, looking. And so one morning he got on and he found a place that they had just posted it. They just posted it. He quickly contacts the landlord, and the landlord just asks him, well, where do you work and how much do you make? My husband told him, and he was just like, okay. So we're like, okay, that's it? That easy, right? So he was just like, okay, send your deposit, send a check of your deposit, and then here's the application fee. You got to pay that too and all that, right? So we're getting all that together. In the process of all of that, we start noticing some odd behaviors. So we started wondering, like, oh my gosh, is this a scam? Like, we're screwed if this is a scam. And so we actually called one of our friends and told him about the landlord's odd behaviors. And we asked him, we said, hey, can you call and act like you are interested in the house and that you want to buy it? We were just trying to rent, but act like you want to buy the house, that you're interested in it, and see what happens. And so he did. He called him and was really pushing it, like, but I want to buy it, but I want to buy. But the guy, the landlord, was actually like, nope, sorry, somebody already got it for rent. It's already taken. So we were like, okay, so there's some honesty there. So what's the deal? Like, these red flags that we were sensing, what is happening? So we were still nervous, and we didn't know what was going on. And so my husband actually called his boss out here in South Dakota, and he was just like, look, if this is a scam, then we're done. Like, this is all our money. We're done. And his boss, I am so grateful for people like this, that there are still good people out there. Well, yeah. So his boss, so kind. He was just like, give me the name, give me the address. I'll go over there right now and check them out for you. And so we gave him all the information, and his secretary actually contacted him first. And it turns out they knew him. They were like, you know what? He's good. He's just a very, very busy man. And so we've come to find out, since all of this has began, and we were calling people from place to place, and just jobs and apartments and houses and all this, people operate differently out here than they do in California. I wouldn't necessarily say they're not professional, but what I'm used to in California, I guess out here, they're more laid back. And so an example of when I've called companies, they didn't necessarily answer the phone with their company name. They were just like, hello? So I'm just like, I'm sorry, am I calling such and such? They're like, oh yes. And it's like, okay, like everyone I called, nobody responds with their business name. So I was thrown off that way. But yeah, so their behaviors are different. They're different. So rest assured, everything was safe. It was good. But now, here's a couple of things that I want to point out. Now, in the process of all of this, our hearts were aching because my daughter, she did make a decision to stay in California, and she was trying to work all that out to see if she actually could stay in California. And the door opened for her to be able to stay. And I just want to say thank you to Mema. It's a family aunt. Just thank you for taking our baby girl in. But she's staying in California. And that was a very, very hard goodbye. If you want to know about that, just from my heart and my perspective, you can see my post on my Instagram page. You'll see our family photos, and there's multiple photos you can look through as we're each saying goodbye to her. That was very difficult. But another thing I want to point out and just say thank you to all of our friends that have been there for us through all of this. Our mentors, our counselors, our friends, people who prayed over us, who prayed for us, people who have taken us in, relieved us of the burden of hotel costs, friends that saw us in our lowest point. When Joel and I, all we could do was focus on our faults. It was like one fault after another. That's all we could do, is just focus on our faults and just think the worst of ourselves. But we had friends that looked at us, that saw us the way God sees us and says, no, we still believe in you. At our lowest point, and they're looking at us like, no, we still believe in you. Even when we lacked faith in ourselves, like incredible, incredible friends. And friends who let us live with them, who truly did have the Acts mentality. Their heart was for the book of Acts, the way they lived in that time where nobody needed anything because everybody helped everybody. That was their mentality. I was just completely blown away by their hospitality, by their love for us, and the fact that they even said the church needs to get better at this. And I agree. I am guilty of it. I mean, watching them and hearing their heart, they didn't want us to leave and feeling like, man, did we do everything we could to help them stay? That was their heart. That was their mentality. And so all of our friends, all of our counsel, our mentors, just people in our corners, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being there for us and helping us through this journey. We really needed that support. And we got it from you guys. And I just want to say, for those of you that were listening, get friends that are like that. Get friends that will challenge you. Get friends that will lift you up when you're down. Get friends that will encourage you, that will tell you to your face. And if you don't have those, love them from a distance. Seriously, like, you need people in your corner that are like that all the time. So that concludes today's vlog of California Dreamin'. But you know what? Let me tell you this one last thing that I'm going to share with you. Years ago, I was a baby Christian, but I had a vision, and in that vision, it involved Mount Rushmore and Jesus's face. And all these years I've been asking God, what was that vision for? What did that mean? I had never forgotten about it, but I had been asking him. And now, here we are, living in the very state that my vision took place. We are just minutes away from Mount Rushmore. So I know we are here in South Dakota for a reason. What that reason is, I do not know, but I can't wait to find out. So there is a purpose. And let me tell you, I know it seems odd, and we've gotten further away from our dream is what it seems. But the more I pray, the more I'm feeling a lot closer to it than I've ever been. So I just want to encourage you, whatever dream you have, whatever goals you have, you are going to have opposition, you are going to have hardship, you are going to face trials and tribulation and errors, you're going to mess up on things, you're going to get things right. But just stick to it, continue to pursue it. God is the one who leads the way. He is the establisher of our steps. And when you commit and submit your will and your ways to him, your plans to him, he will lead you and guide you. Do not forget that. So, as always, if you haven't done so, start today, because there's no time like the present time. And don't forget to subscribe. Take care.